Happy Wednesday, my winners and goal getters. Welcome back to another episode of the Getting the Win Show. I am your host, Mellissa T, the Procrastination Bully. And if this is your first time, welcome. Welcome to the goal getter and winner ecosystem. In today's episode, I want to get into a couple of things that will help push you further forward as you're progressing towards your luxury item. Whatever your vision is, whatever that overall big thing is that you've been sitting on that you know you should be doing and that quite frankly you're running out of time to do. Can we be honest about that real quick? Like those of us who procrastinate, and I say us because I'm a recovering procrastinator. If this is your first time watching, I'm someone who's a recovering procrastinator and I'm helping recovering procrastinators break that cycle to get their stuff done. But the one issue with procrastination is that it is the arrogant assumption that God is going to give us another chance to do tomorrow what he appointed us to do today. So I'm going to, in this episode, cover a couple of concepts that are going to help you push yourself forward. Because one of the things I share in my workshops when I do them is that beating procrastination isn't about time management. It's emotional management. It's emotion management. So it's about mastering your emotions and hacking your mind to make yourself do the stuff you don't feel like doing. Or at the very least, bringing in people to help you accomplish the things that you don't feel like doing. So the first thing I want to share with you, and I'll share a story to back it up as well, is assign a penalty. Assign a penalty. Now, mind you, anybody that's in the behavior modification space, they will raise the red flag immediately, like, wait. Punishment is not the most effective way to get someone to change their behaviors or to do what is necessary. Don't worry about that. I will handle that in step 2. But step 1, assign a penalty for not doing what you said you were going to do, for not keeping that promise you made to yourself. This is important. This is important, especially if you're anything like me and you enjoy the rewards that you give yourself. The idea of those rewards being pulled away can be just enough of a fire under your butt to get the thing done. True story about this as an example. So, as you've likely heard, if you've been following the last couple of episodes, I announced the Spring Forward Writers Retreat that's coming up in March. And of course, with any promotion, you're doing all kinds of marketing to lead up to whatever's coming up, right? So I had a very particular set of content that I needed to get out there. And there there was a little bit of work involved that yours truly didn't feel like doing. However, I did what I recommend all of you to do, which is I contacted my accountability partner. Shout out to Jess Abraham, the boundaries coach. But I reached out to her and I said, you know what? Like, I have this specific task I need to get done, and I need you to give me 48 hours to do it. And then she asked a very interesting follow-up question. She said, okay, what do you, what should be the penalty if you don't do it? And I said, good question. I don't normally assign myself a penalty for stuff like that. So I said, okay, let's do this. Since I love watching YouTube, I don't watch TV, I don't have any streaming services, maybe remove that as a privilege. And she said, okay, you might not like this, but I'm recommending that if you don't get it done in 48 hours, you can't watch YouTube for a week. Y'all, I got that task done the same night. Okay. We agreed that she was going to follow up with me the next day at some point. She wasn't going to tell me the time, but she would follow up with me the next day to see how far along I am in the process of completing the task. But with the prospect of being stripped of YouTube for a week, I got that task done that night. So by the time she followed up with me the following day, it was already completed. So for some people, just the penalty part, just this first step is enough for them to modify their habit of avoidance and get that specific thing done to move the needle towards their luxury item. In this case, for me, it's preparing for the writer's retreat in March. That's a luxury item, the writer's retreat. in this specific case. And you've got to get the word out in order for folks to know about it. So this was an important task for me to complete. So shout out to Jess. Thank you so much. She and I work very closely together to hold each other accountable, to build together. Uh, if you saw episode 52, the 1 year anniversary special, you heard from several folks that I build together with, folks that I'm coaching with through their procrastination, and folks that are holding me accountable for certain things that I need to move the needle on as well. It's very important to have that accountability partner. I have several because I'm fortunate enough to be in a great business mastermind where everybody is God focused and business focused. Like there is no idle action in there. Stuff's getting done and questions are being asked. You know what I mean? So I'm surrounded by fantastic people. So I would urge you to do that as well. Make sure you have that accountability partner to ask you those questions like, hey, where are you with this? And that way you can answer yay or nay. You know what I mean? Be honest with your answers. Be honest with your answers and be coachable. That's a bit of a tangent there, a bit of a sidebar. But the main principle there in step one is to implement a penalty of some kind, something that will help you to avoid the pain. And now, step two, incentivize yourself to do the task. Now, the incentive will push you towards the pleasure. You need both. Our minds operate with both. I talked about this in a previous episode. So I wanted to reinforce this concept because it gets you that much closer to your goal that much faster. So incentivize yourself to finish the thing. So in my case, as I mentioned in a previous episode where I talked about penalty versus incentivizing, I mentioned my incentive. Since I am a YouTube consumer, I use self-development videos as my reward because I love to learn. I'm a nerd, y'all. I love learning. Love learning because I also love to teach. I love to share knowledge with folks in a way that is easy for them to understand and is helpful that they can put into action immediately. And if you talk to any coach, any subject matter expert, any speaker, that's essentially what the process is. They consume content to keep themselves ahead of the curve. They'll rephrase it, repurpose it in a way that they can understand and in a way that is easy for their audience to understand. And then they present the information to their audience in the way that their audience will understand it. So I do the same thing. So that is my incentive in this example of incentivization. We had a call recently, Jess and and I have another task that I requested her accountability for. Like, okay, there's this one thing I'm supposed to be doing this on Saturdays, and I need to reinforce that. Like, I need to get this task done. Okay. And she said, cool. So I will hold you to that. The penalty is still the same, y'all. The penalty is still the threat of losing access to YouTube for a week. And the incentive is also the same. Like, I will continue to use the personal development videos as my incentive because I love to learn. And even some entertainment videos because that's the industry I'm coming from. Like, I used to work in the news media industry, and even before that, I'm a film grad. So I love all things movies. I coach people through their books. So I'm all things books as well. So entertainment is a big cornerstone for me. So the incentive is okay, if I complete this, I get to watch this particular video or this particular set of videos, whatever the quantity is. That's an example that works for me. So whatever that is for you, however you want to apply that in your life, make sure you're doing both though. Don't just focus on the penalty. Don't just focus on the pleasure. Have both because that adds jet fuel. Having both of them adds jet fuel to your action. Okay. The third step or technique that I want to present to you, I learned myself from Cal Newport. You guys have heard me cite Cal Newport before. He recommends what's called a pull system for your tasks. So he said, for the stuff you got to do, organize it in clusters of 2 or 3. Like, do no more than 2 or 3 in your actions right now list. The things that you're working on right now, no more than 2 or 3. Max it out at 3. Have your tasks that you're doing right now. Everything else is in a sequential list below that. And then as you complete tasks that you're working on right now, pull something up from the to work on next list and put it in your working on now list. And just keep cycling through that. Keep cycling through that. And if you're in a situation where you're working with a team, or you have a corporate job, you have a 9 to 5, he recommends keeping a Google Doc that you can share with your team. And that way, if they want to add something, have them add it to the bottom of your list. And then when you go back to it to reference and move stuff up, you're pulling stuff up. You'll see what they added. It's still in your to work on next, so you're not pressured to do it right now. Because who else has ever been in that situation where you're working on something and they present you with a task with their level of urgency and you got to do it right now? Even though technically it's not necessarily a right now thing. It can technically wait. They just don't want to. So I like the pull technique that Cal recommends, because they get the satisfaction of having delegated the task to you. It's a collaborative environment because they see your list of tasks that you've got going on, and they will know not to bombard you with too much stuff. If it's a task list that they're able to see, they're not taking your productivity for granted. They see all the stuff that you're working on. So I really appreciate that system, and I think that's very effective. Plus, you get the sense of accomplishment each time that you pull something up. And as Cal says, it actually makes you that much more productive. You work a lot faster when you're dealing with a list like that. That way, it's not just tasks that you're checking off. That gives you a feeling of accomplishment as well. But when you see the action that not only are you checking tasks off your list, but stuff is moving up, then the list gets shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter as you're moving stuff up and eliminating stuff as you work on it. You move a lot faster. You move a lot faster. And for the record, to be specific, the tasks that you're putting on your list are not meetings. These are like isolated tasks, specific tasks. So don't put stuff on there that would involve a meeting or like a conference call or something like that. Like, these are stuff that's more administrative, or if you're a content creator, it's stuff like that, stuff that's connected to content creation, whether that's ideation or research, things like that, things that are isolated. But yeah, the pull system is another cheat code that you can use to hack your mind to get things done that you don't necessarily feel like doing. I'm gonna quote a gentleman by the name of Nick Rich. Shout out to Nick Rich. He is a photographer and, if I'm not mistaken, also graphic designer. I think he does both. But Nick posted a great quote just this morning that said, "Your next level is on the other side of that thing you don't feel like doing." And I love that. That was such a great, like, butt kick, to put it nicely. That was a nice toe step. Like, it was great. So I want to give you that very lovingly. Remember, I am the procrastination bully. So I'm not bullying you. I'm bullying the procrastination that's still in you. Okay. So yeah, your next level is on the other side of that thing you don't feel like doing. So use these 3 tools that I've shared with you in this video. Assign yourself a penalty if you haven't already, for if you don't get the thing done or things. Incentivize yourself to get them done. What is something that you'll enjoy doing once you accomplish those things? It can be your favorite thing to eat. It can be your favorite thing to watch later when you're at home and have that free time to do that. It can be a walk that you don't normally take. whatever that reward looks like, assign one though. Give yourself one so you have what to look forward to when you complete the thing. And then the third thing, if you've never tried this before, use the pull system for your tasks. Have a Google Doc, especially if you're working in a team. Have a Google Doc and share it with the members of your team so that they can see the running list of tasks that you've got going on. You have your 2 or 3 that are in the top bracket, which is the to do right now. I'm working on this right now. And then everything else is in a sequential list underneath it that is to work on next. That is what that lower bracket is, to work on next. And if they need to add something, if they need you to do something, tell them to put it in that Google Doc at the bottom. That way you can go back to it and put it in wherever in the sequence you need to put it for your own mind and your own organization, but have them type it at the bottom so that you can visually see, okay, they added this, and then you can move it wherever you need to move it. You have that discretion. You'll be a lot faster. You'll be much more productive when you incorporate that. Just remember, your next level is on the other side of that thing you don't feel like doing. So knock out that thing you don't feel like doing. Because just as any productivity person will tell you, from Brian Tracy on down, Tony Robbins, anybody, when you knock out the most difficult things first, you become that much more productive because everything else is going to take a lot less time for you to complete. That's number one. But number two, what do I always say? There's that part of your brain that only grows and expands when you do hard or uncomfortable things. And that's really what you want anyway. You want to become stronger. You want to become more creative and a better critical thinker by taking care of those things that you don't feel like doing first. All right. So hopefully this was helpful. Again, a bit of a brief episode here, but I want to present those things so you can take them and run with them. Move the needle that much faster towards your luxury item, whether your luxury item is big or small, whatever the case may be, and get the win. And I'll leave you with this. This is from my twin. For those of you who watched the anniversary episode, you heard me refer to him as my twin, L. David Harris, who is an author, speaker, coach, and serial entrepreneur. But one thing he recently shared is there's no such thing as small wins. He doesn't ascribe to that anymore. He's like, hey, a dub is a dub, period. The small win versus big win, nope. A win is a win. So get them. Collect as many of them under your belt as possible. So regardless of the kind of luxury item you have, continue to move the needle and lean on me if you need to move that needle. If you need an accountability partner, follow me on Instagram at Getting the Win Show over there, or on Threads at Getting the Win Show. You can leave a comment on YouTube at Getting the Win and subscribe there. But either way, like, hit me up and let me know what it is you need accountability on, and I will gladly help you. One of the things that one of my coaching clients, Barbara Fortilla, shared is we do work sessions. There are times when you have to do those things that will force you to get the task done. And sometimes it's just a forced session with just you and an accountability partner, or you and a group of people just doing a work session for a specific block of time. And that's all you're focused on. You're getting the one task done. So if that's something you want to coordinate with me, by all means, hit me up. I'm glad to do that with you. In the meantime, be sure to subscribe on YouTube at Getting the Win. And again, follow me on Instagram, Pinterest, and Threads at Getting the Win Show. All right. And one final reminder, an invitation. If you're interested in getting your book done, if that's your luxury item and you've been sitting on it, and you need somebody to hold your hand or help you do it as a work session in person, I've got you. The Spring Forward Writers Retreat is happening March 14th to 16th of 2025. It's happening in beautiful Kissimmee, Florida. So if you're interested in that, if that's something you want to do, you want to knock out your book at the beginning of 2025, let's go. Because when you come, you're coming with your book as is. whether that's with the outline, maybe just a few ideas that you put on paper. Maybe you're starting from scratch. By the end of the weekend, you will leave with a rough draft. You will leave with a manuscript completed. So that is the tangible item you're coming away with, okay? So if you're interested, go to tinyurl.com/spring-retreat. But yeah, enjoy the rest of your Wednesday and have a great and productive rest of your week. Peace.